Hello everyone, welcome to Ajiro Tech. Ajiro Tech. In this video, we're going to be looking at CIE, Information and Communication Technology with a course code 0417 or 0983. And we're looking at February, March 2024, which is a paper that was officially released a few hours ago as of the time of this recording. And it has one variant 21. And in this particular video, we're looking at databases, which is chapter 18 of the textbook. Okay, so let's get right to it. Okay, so please take note the duration of this full paper is 2 hours 15 minutes. Okay, now the instructions are very important. Instructions are very important, so please go through each and every of these instructions before proceeding for the practice test. Okay, so the total mark for this paper is 70, so take note of it. Okay, you have been supplied with the following source files, so take note of it as well. So we've supplied the following source files. Now we have done the evidence document, which is there on our presentations, video, and document production. We've done document production video, so please go look at it. It's right here on my YouTube channel. Okay, and also, so very interesting, so go look at it. So now we're looking at database. Okay, so it's very important. Now when we talk about database, what do we mean? Okay, so remember, when it comes to Ajiro Tech, we're not just solving a past paper, I'm teaching you how to do it. Okay, so database chapter 18 simply means an organized, okay, organized collection, okay, of data. That's the first thing with database. If you don't know anything, please take home with us. A database is an organized collection of what? Data. Okay, and we have a software, okay, which helps us to be able to store and retrieve this data in a structured way. Okay, and the recommended software for database chapter 13 layout is what? The Microsoft Access. Okay, take note, the Microsoft Access. So it's very important. Okay, very important. Along with it, we will be talking about certain technologies like fields, which is a single item of data, records, which are collections of fields, files, which are collections of records. You're in luck because I'm currently working on the database series, which I've started. At the time of this recording, we have part 1 and part 2. Please go through that video if you really want to have an in-depth knowledge of databases. It's right here on my YouTube channel. It's in different parts that is going to open your mind extensively on it. Okay, so let's proceed. Make sure all currency values display the same currency symbol and are set to 2 decimal places. So when we talk about same currency symbol, so if you're using the pounds, okay, it simply means that all your fields that has to do with currency should be what? Pounds. If you're making use of a dollar, it simply means that all the field that has to do with currency should be in dollar. If you're making use of Indian rupee, okay, it simply means it has to be across it. And that brings us to data types. Okay, so when we talk about the data types and the subtypes, we're invariably saying that these are types of data. It tells access, okay, how we can store and manipulate data for each field. That is what data type mean, right? So when we talk about data type, it's simply informing access how you can store and manipulate the data for each of the fields. Okay, so we have them as alphanumeric, we have them as text, we have them as boolean, which is a yes or no, we have numeric, and we have other subtypes numeric, which currency is a category, is a part of numeric. Okay, so very important, and they're set to 2 decimal places. Okay, so of course when it comes to decimal place, we're talking about double, but in this case it's currency as data type because there's an inclusion of the currency what symbol. Very important. Okay, good. All right, so step 11, examine the file, CO2 gains, and identify the most appropriate field to set as a primary key. What's a primary key? A primary key holds unique data. What do we mean by unique? It simply means that no 2 same item should be on the field. Okay, that's what I mean. And we'll talk about foreign key. Foreign key helps in the creation of relationship. It simply means the primary key in another table. Okay, hope that makes sense. Now they said, so let's examine the file. Let's examine the file. So I'm going to open it. So this what is CO2 games. I'm going to open it with a spreadsheet. I'll click here to select both the columns and rows, double click so everything is shown. Now please take note for primary keys. We cannot use titles. We can't use years. We can't use anything that has to do with publishers, console types, platforms. We can't use them as primary keys. Why? Because we can have the same game title. We can have games that are released in the same year. We can have generational code that can actually be the same thing. We can have game publishers, of course, the same Sony, okay, Sony, Nintendo. We can have the same price. We can have the same console type. We can have the same platform, okay, sales, ranking. Of course, we can have the same ranking, okay. These are not eligible for primary keys. Code are, okay. So in this case, this becomes what? The game code. So another way to do this is one way to identify it. Another way to be able to identify it is when we're creating relationship, they usually give you a kind of a snip on it, right? So here you can see, okay, gen code, the gen table, gen code. So here's the foreign key. So usually they can use the relationship to just probably give you a hint of what you want to do, okay? So this is very, very important. So in this case, this becomes what? The game code. Why? Because for every game, there is a unique code that is given to that game. Okay, so the game code, no two games can have the same code. So the game code becomes the most appropriate primary key. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to close. Don't say I'm not saving it. Okay, so I have this. I'm just going to move this up. So now we've examined and we've said this. Using database software, we've talked about it. Import the file. So the first thing you do before importing, okay, is to first of all create a database. Now there are two ways we can do it. Two ways we can actually create a database. The first method, I'm going to start with the long method and then we'll go to the short method, right? The easy method. So the first one is you have to open access. Okay, open it and then click on the blank database, and the name of the file can just be your name. And we're going to choose the directory of it, and then I'm going to scroll down to this. This is where I want to store it, the directory of where you want to store the database. Scroll down to it. Okay, so we have this, right? So we can store it here, and now that it's shown the location, I'm going to click on what? Create. Okay, now it's going to come with a default table, so I'm going to close the table, and then we have this. Okay, so I can just save the work and close. That's one method. Now another method simply means you can just right click, go to new, and then create Microsoft Access database and just type in search for it. Okay, I can just search for it. Let me just put 2 here and I'll click on create. So this one does not come with any default table. So there are two ways you can actually do this, whichever one that is okay by you. Okay, so I can close this. So we have 2 right here. So I'm just going to delete this one. Okay, I'm just going to delete that one. Delete. Okay, so we have this. Okay, so now I'm going to open this. Okay, I'm going to open it. I'm going to click on enable content. So now we can actually import. Now I said using database software, import the file. Please take note, CSV means comma separated value. Is a delimited data format. Data format that stores characters or fields separated with what? Comma. Make sense? So each of those fields, right, or characters are separated with what? A comma. And this simply means what? Comma separated what? Value, CXV. And it's something you see in chapter 11 under file management. Okay, So let's import this. So this is going to be external file. Now take note, this is a generic file, right? This is a generic file. So it simply means that we're importing it as a text file. Okay. So this is going to be external data, new data source, from file, text file. Okay. I'm going to we're importing as a new table. I'm going to browse for it. I'm going to browse for it. So I have what? CO2 games, right? I'm going to check this, click on what? Open. Now it's a new table, so I'm going to click on OK. Okay, so now we can see that it's delimited because the characters are separated with what? With comma. And because each of them are separated, each field or character is separated with comma, if I click on next, it picks it and then put them into a separate column. Okay, put them into a separate column. And now take note, we have the first row contain field name. If you don't check this, first row contain field name, is going to assign a default field name, which is field 1, field 2, field 3. Okay, so if I don't check that and I go back and I click on next, what happens? It has assigned it to it, and that's not what we want. So I'm going to check the first row that contains field names and then next. Are we skipping any field? Let's check. So we're not skipping anything. Okay, so I'm going to go to next. So right here I'm going to click on advanced. Let's take note of it. The code page is Western European Windows. Why? Because it is a Windows operating system. So let's take note of that. It's a Windows operating system. Okay, and of course the date order is DMY, date, month, and year. So let's format this. When you see short text, when you see text simply means what? Short text. And when you see numbers, it simply means long integers, especially when it doesn't have a decimal. When it has a decimal and it's not a currency, it is seen as what? Double. So take note of that. Okay, and if it has a boolean, it is seen as what? Yes or no. Okay, so let's look at it. Game title is short text. Yes, just going to move this here. Release year is long integer. Yes, the gen code to game publishers are short text. Yes, price, now it's supposed to be double, but because of the inclusion of currency, the data type is going to change to what? Currency. So please take note. It's going to be what? Currency. Let's check it. Price. Currency. Okay. Console type and platform is short text. Console type and platform is short text. Then we have global sales and rank. Short text. Global sale, decimal. So this is what? Double. Global sale, double. Rank, okay, 0 decimal place, long integer. So that's correct. Okay, so I'm going to click on OK. So what is the primary key here? The primary key that we choose is what? The game code. That's what we choose, right? The game code. Because here, the gen code is not a unique primary key. It's not a unique primary key because this is now seen as a foreign key. It's now acting as the foreign key with the primary key in another table. Do you understand? So to uniquely identify this particular table is the game code. Hope that makes sense. So when you're looking at the relationship, it also aids together because a primary key to primary key is 1 to 1. A primary key to a foreign key is 1 to many. Okay, so I'm going to click on next and I'm going to click on finish. Close. So here we have the PK, which is the primary key, right? Save the data. So we can just quickly check, open it, select both the fields and records, double click on it so everything is properly seen, then save. Okay, so now this view is called a datasheet view. This view right here is called a datasheet view. So I'm going to switch to what? The design view, so we can just modify some things real quick. So now let's modify some things here. So here's already 0 decimal place, here's already 2 decimal place, currency 2 decimal place for price. So under here, the decimal places, I'm just going to change to what? 2 decimal place. So what else? For the global sales, now global sales, please take note. Now when we want to put a decimal into numbers of decimal places, we'll find out that there are some records. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So let me save. Let me switch to datasheet view. Now if we check the global sales, we're going to see that there are some inconsistency. We can see that we are having some that is 3 decimal place. We are having some that probably will just be 3 or even 1 decimal place. You can see 1 decimal place. So how do we sort this out? How do we do this? Very important. So to do this, you can just double click on it. Okay, just ensure that everything is fine. Okay, so to do this, what do? I'm going to right click, go to design view. Now under my global sales, the format here is going to be standardized. And the reason why I want to standardize your whole process is that I want every record to be with that numbers of decimal places. So I'm going to standardize it, and then under the decimal place, I'm going to switch to what? 2 decimal place. Okay, now I'm going to save. So if we come back to the question, we can see that this is 2 decimal place. Let's not forget, least we forget, right, that it has to be the same currency and it's set to 2 decimal places. Very, very important. So here I can save. I can switch. This view now is called your design view. I can now switch to what? Datasheet view. So now if we check the global sales across, they are what? 2 decimal places. Okay, and of course, please take note, this is the numbers of records. So this means the first record, previous record, next record, the last record, and this way we can create a blank record. Okay, so I can save and then I can close. So here I said place your evidence document. What step is this? Step 11. Place your evidence document, a screenshot showing the field names, data types, and primary key used in the table. So I'm going to switch to my design view. Okay, so design view here, if you have something like this, now it's always about to take 1 screenshot. Now for you to take, for you to be able to take 1 screenshot, what do? Okay, so I'm going to click here. Okay, and I'm going to click on show tabs only. Okay, I'm going to click what? Show tabs what? Only. So I'm going to click here, show tabs only, so that I can now take the whole screenshot in one get-go, right? So I'm going to use the snipping tool to do that. The snipping tool. Click on new, and I will take my screenshot. Done. Please include the table name, and please, it has to be 1 table per time, right? So it simply means that if you're done with 1 table, you close it. I can close this. This is going to what? Step 11. So I'm going to open my evidence document. And if you're just joining us now, please take note that we've done video and presentations and document production. It's right there on the YouTube channel. So I'm going to click here, Control plus Enter, because taking that screenshot is not going to go fit in there. So I'm going to hit on Enter. Right click, and then I'll paste this. Just reduce this to probably like 6. So this is fine. Picture format, I can make this 10 centimeters, so that's fine. I can save. All right, the next one, step 12. Import the file. Okay, so I'm going to click on external data, new data source, from file, text file, browse. So what file are we importing? Classifications. So I'm going to import classifications. Now it's going to be what? You are importing this as a new table in your database. So I'm importing this as a new table in your database. Click on OK. Okay, delimited, right? So this delimited. So I'm going to click on next. I will talk about why it's delimited, because each character is separated or field separated with comma. And because separated with comma, it's going to put them in a different column. I'm going to check the first row to contain field names. I'm going to click on next. Are we skipping anything? No. Using the field names and data type provided. So I'm going to click on next. Click on advanced, ensuring that the code page is Windows. Okay, and then set the H code as primary key. So click on OK. I'm going to choose my primary key. If you don't let access add primary key, it's going to give an ID to it, right? So I'm going to choose what? The age code, and I'm going to click on next, click on finish. If it imports as two tables, there's an error, so you have to check it. Okay, so I'm going to do this, click here, double click, good. So I'm going to save, going to close, switch to what? Design view. Now I can take my screenshot. New. Okay. So what step is it? This is step 12. Ctrl V. I did Ctrl V to just paste it. Then I can reduce this to 6. Save. So I can close this. So this is done. Did I check the other one that's done? Okay. So checking them ensures that you're done with you're done with it. So I've placed the evidence. Step 13. Import the file as a new table. CO2 Geron. So external data, new data source from file, text file. Browse for it. Geron. Click on open. Remember, we're importing this as what? A new table in our database. So I'm going to click on OK. It's delimited. Take note. Next. Because it's delimited, it sees as each character separated with a comma, it put them in one a column. Check the first row to contain feed names. Very important. Next. Next. Right here, advanced code page is Windows operating system. Click on OK. We're going to choose our primary key. What's the primary key? We're setting the gen code as the primary key. So yes, next, and then finish, close. So I have the gen code. Select here, double click, save, close, switch this to design view. Okay, so again, they said you've provided, yes, place your evidence document a screenshot showing the feed names, data type, and primary key used. So I'm going to take my screenshot. Okay, take my screenshot. Okay, this is going to be what? Step 13. Hit and enter. Ctrl V. Reduce it a bit. 6. Just make it 10. This other one as well. Make it 10 centimeters. Okay. Save. Okay. So we're done with this. Step 14. Create one-to-many relationship as links. Okay, as links between the gen code. Now, for us to be able to create the relationship, so take note, the whole essence of creating relationship is done what we call a key feeds. Okay, this is possibly what we call key fields, which is your primary key and what? Your foreign key. Okay, very, very important. With your primary key and then your foreign key. So to do this, we close database tools and then the relationship. Now yours might be showing like this, or it can be showing like this. It's still the same thing. Now the very way to do that, you can just click the first one, hold your shift, and then you do this. Of course, there's an extensive explanation of database on my YouTube channel. It's in series, part 1, part 2, and it can be part 3, part 4. So go to it. It's right there on my the place on database is there as well. You can just have fun with it. So I can just click on add selected tables and then double click here, so all things can be fully seen. So I have what? The gen code in the gen table with the gen code in the games table. Yeah, so this is fine. Gen code to gen code here. So gen code in the gen table and gen code in the create table. I'm going to create this. Age code in classification table and age code in the games table. So age code here, with age code here. So age code in the classification table and age code in the games table, and I'll create this. Okay, so now I have it. Now they said place in your evidence document screenshot showing the type of relationship between the three tables. What they want to see is the relationship type, which is what one to many. They want to be sure that with what the key field, the primary key, and with the foreign key. Okay, so I'll click on the first one. Okay, relationship design, go to edit relationship. I can just pin this here. So click the line here, right, edit relationship, and I'll take a screenshot of this. New. Okay, that's the first one. So this is step 14. Okay, hit on enter and then paste it. Picture format, crop this. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit on enter. All right, so I have this. The next one is the age code. So let's go back to the age code and then go to edit relationship, and then you can take the screenshot. Okay, click on OK, and then we can paste it here. Just Ctrl V, that will save you the stress. Ctrl V. I can do this, Ctrl enter, so that everything is in one screenshot. Picture format, crop. And I'm going to save it. So I can just make this 10 centimeters. Okay, 10. Just want to make it 10. Okay, so I can save it. All right, so this is done. Step 15. Add the following as a new record in the gens table, in the games table rather, as a new record in the games table. So I'm going to save this and then close. One way to know if the relationship has been created is if we come to John, it shows what? It shows a plus, and that plus simply means that it is now what? Linked. So they're all linked to what? The game. So this is seen as the base for it. Okay, what we are using, classification is showing that is what is all linked to it. Okay, all right, so let's add it on the games table. So I'm just probably going to split it here and split the question here as well. I can just close this, it's fine, and there we have it. So here I'm going to click here to what? To create a new record in the games table. Please take note, they have been linked, so let's do that. So under the game title, I'm going to have, I think I can just type it, Dr. Thomas 2006 J6 PZ 020 C3 creation arts 18.80 Cyrus 360 GD7 as the platform. Sales is 4.86 and then 203. Okay, 203. All right, so I will just click anywhere to just make it 499. Okay, so I can do this and then go back to it and do this. So now we have 499. it's always important to always check. If you open this in Excel, the games, let's see how many records we have at default. Don't save. So the records we have here is, yes, 498. Okay. All right. So I've added this as a new table. I will add a new record in the games table, and then we can save. Okay, so we're done with this. Check. Step 16. Using fields from all three tables, produce a tabular report. When producing tabular report, please take note. The first thing you do is for you to produce a query. Whenever you want to produce a report, one of the pitfalls students is that when they see using fields from all three tables, produce tabular report, they start producing a report. No, you have to first of all produce what? Create a query. And we'll talk about query. Query simply means fetching, okay, retrieving data from the table or from the database, right? So you're fetching data from it. So you have to first of all create what? A query. So the question is, which is a query, which is a report? So what I will do is I'm going to use yellow for my query and then pink for my report. Okay, so I have this. So my yellow here is going to be for the query. So now this is the query. And also this is also going to act as my query. Okay, and the rest, which is the pink, is going to be what? My report, including this. So this is one way to differentiate and to make it all look very, very easy for you. Okay, so now let's proceed. So I'm going to save and close. Now I'm going to go to create. Now, when creating the query, we can use two ways. We can use the query wizard or the query design, okay, to do that. Okay, there are so many videos where I've been using the query wizard to do that, but in this video I'm going to use the query design to actually make it all easy for you. Okay, so I'm going to go to the query design, okay, from three tables. So how do we do that? Now we have what? Game title. So what do? We put them here, click on it, double click, double click, double click. Each of them is showing well. Yes, so the first one is what? Game title. So I have my game title. I'm going to move it here to the field section. One. Then I have the gerund. So I have my gerund here. I'm going to move my gerund here. And then age category. So I have my age category here. Release year. I'm going to move the release year here. Console type. I'm going to put my console type in the field, and it's going to show you where that table, where for each field, where the table is, which table it is, right? And then we have rank over here. So we have game title, gerund, age category, release year, console type, and rank. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So now that we have it, so we're just going to give the name to it. So the name I'm going to use is going to be the name for the report, latest serial console games. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to save, add a name to it, my query name. I'm going to click on OK. Okay, so if we switch to what? Datasheet view, this is what it's still the same thing that you're going to have. Okay, it's still the same thing you're going to have if you're using the query wizard. I've done query wizard on previous videos. You can check the 2023, the specimen paper 2023. It's right on my YouTube channel to see how you can use the query wizard. Okay, so I'm going to save, and then let's look at the first one. The first one is console type begins with the text Cyrus. So we have a wildcard search right there on chapter 18. So for the wildcard search, we have them as we have it as include. Okay, include talks about it has to have the word in between. So for include, we can have Cyrus asterisk Cyrus asterisk. This is the command word. So it simply means that this in every of that word there must be Cyrus. Then we have begin, which is what they want. Begin. So for begin, the command word comes first, and then you have asterisk. Then you can have it in any other thing else. Then for end, okay, for end with, it begins with the asterisk and then with the command word. Okay, so any other word can start, but the command, it must end with the command word, which is this. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so here the console type begins with the text Cyrus. Console type. So I will switch to my design view. Console type. Now this is going to fall under criteria. This show simply means that these are all the fields that is going to display in the datasheet view. Okay, so I have Cyrus asterisk. Okay, and I'm going to run them one at a time. Okay, so we have 75 records. So it's begin with Cyrus. Then release year is 2010 or later. This is like saying 2010 or 80 or more. So the mathematical representation of 2010 or later is what? Greater than equals to what? 2010. So it begins from 2010, 2011, 2012. You get it. You get the gist, right? So release year. So I'm going to switch to design view. So we have greater than equals to 2010. Okay, and I'm going to run it. Now take note, right, that 2010 or later is less than equals to 2010. Later is greater. Earlier is less than. Okay, so we have this. So now we are done with the query. So we have 32 records. So I'm going to save and I will close. So this falls under what we call database object. What are database objects? We have tables, queries, reports, forms. All these are your database what? Objects. Okay. All right. So now it's time for us to create the report. So for us to be able to create the report, what do we do? So we can click on create. Okay. And then we can use the wizard. Now using the report design is actually pretty cool, right? But there's a lot of complexity because more or less for report design with a blank slate that we're creating, and then we have to add the existing tables, and then we need to add them into our what? Create our headers, report headers, and then under the details we have to split them into page header, and then we have our details, which is where the record falls in, and then we can create report head, the report footer, and then the page footer, and then the report footer, right? There's a lot of complexity for it, but so I will always prefer the report wizard. Although in my master classes, there is a master class, we look at how we can actually do the report design, which is actually very cool if you get to know it. Okay, so I'm going to go to my report wizard. Okay, so again now, there's a using field from all three tables. We've already created the query, so now we just have to just move everything together. So I'm going to look for the query. This is the query, so I'm just going to move everything here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next. Now look at this. They said, so this now becomes what? Our report. We can now use, we also use this for what? Creating what? Our report. So hope that makes sense. They said, in this order, with data labels displayed in full, do not group the data. So we are not to group the data. So this simply means that it's going to be what? It's going to be what? On group. Yes, it's going to be ungrouped. So how do we do this? This is ungrouped. This is grouped. This is grouped. So ungrouped. Next. Next. So what are we sorting? They said, sort the data into ascending order of rank. Ascending order of rank. Next. Has the page orientation of portrait. Check. His portrait. Reports, remember, reports are tabular. Take note. Reports are what? tabular. Okay, so and of course whatever orientation you create is going, the feed width is going to adjust to it. Okay, so it's important that this is checked. So the portrait is done. Now what is the title? I'm going to use this for the title as well. Copy. So if yours is not showing this, so all you can do is, probably it's not allowing you can just type hi in that title, and then you can come here, right click on it, and then you can rename it to the name, right? Okay. So this is showing the print preview, right? So I'm going to change the view to what? To layout view. Design view is actually pretty cool because it sums it up very, very fast for you. But I'm just going to go with just a little bit of the intermediate level. Okay, layout view. Okay, so I'm going to do the layout view right now. I'm going to close this. So now they said, remember, we have to ascend it with rank, and rank is the last thing. So that makes it pretty easy for us. So I'm just going to click here. So the first one here, hold your control and select the records. You select the field, hold your control, select the records, and then you cannot use the arrow key to move it. Okay, and then we can adjust it. Hold my control and select this. You can just, the game title should be here, and then I have my console type that is shadowing this. So select this. Please make them in one alignment. So I'm going to make this left. Console type here. I'm going to move this here for the console type. Release here. I'm going to move this here. Please hold your control when selecting both of them so you can adjust them properly. So when it comes to numbers default, they automatically adjust to the right, labels are adjust to the left. Okay, so we just want to just ensure that they all conform to one alignment. Okay, categories, we can adjust this a bit. Okay, I think it's pretty much, make it left. Okay, so let's do some adjusting. Move it here a bit. Move it here a bit. John, just going to adjust it. Okay. So let's see what it does. Now let's look at this. I said fit on a single page. Now when we talk about fit on a single page, simply means that the fields, this field must be on a page. These fields must be on a single, it should not extend to the next page. Please take note. So this is done. Okay. Now they said include only the title, latest Cyrus console game, display in a larger font size, fully visible at the top of the page. Okay, larger font size, fully visible. This is going to be what? The report header, right? So which is this? I'm going to click on this. Bold, font size can be 24 a bit, and then just make it black. Okay, so we have this. So we can just quickly check the print preview to see if anything is being cut off. This is one page. Just check. Is everything the way it should be? Yes, everything seems fair. Everything seems fair. Nothing is cut off. Everything seems fair. Nothing is cut off. So I'm going to go with this. Okay, so what else? Has your name and center number. Has your name, comma, center number. Has your name, comma, space, center number, comma, space, candidate number on the report. That's report footer. Okay, so we're going to make this the report footer. So I'm going to switch to design view. It can also be on the page footer, right? But I'm just going to make this in the report footer. So I can just create the report footer here. Okay, and then report design. Labels. I'm going to put this here. Type your name, comma space, your center number AN017, comma space, candidate number is 0001. Okay, no, 2024. That's what we're using, right? Okay, so format, bold, black. I can make this 14 and I can adjust it a bit. So I can make this here, adjust it. Okay, so I have this. Okay, so now I can save my work, and if I go to my print preview, I should have this. Okay, so this is fine. This is the report footer because this is the last page. Okay, so I have this, my name, comma space, the center number, and then my candidate number. I can leave this because it pretty much said they didn't tell us to remove it or to have only this. So it's showing the date. So I can save. And then what else? What are we doing here? Save and print the report. So I'm going to click on file and then print is right here. So I'm just going to click on print. Please, it's Microsoft Print to PDF. And of course, please take note. It has to be A4. Okay. So if I go to properties, please, it has to be what? A4. Right? The paper size should be A4. Okay. Very important. Okay. You can also do it right here as well by doing your page setup and everything. Okay. So please, if it's later, it can be cut off. Right? So this is it. I'm going to get this here. (2024). So this is going to be print out, right? This is report 1. Okay, so report 1, I can save and then I can close. So we are done with this. All right, let's move on to the next one. Using fields from the games table and classification table, produce a tabular report. Now it's still the same thing. Okay, you have to first of all create what? Your query. Okay, and we have been able to show. So how do we show which is our query here? Okay, we've talked about query. So how do we do? Again, we're going to use yellow for our query. So again, we've learned that this is a query 1. This is a query. When we are creating a field and we're performing calculations, it falls under query 2, and then this as well is what is going to be our query, and then the rest is going to be what from here is going to be what our report. Cool, colors are good. Okay, so now we have an idea with this. Okay, so let's begin with our query. So I did the query design, so I'm going to do query wizard in this one, right? So here I'm going to go to query wizard. Okay, I know most of you like query. Let me know in the comment section between query wizard and query design, which is cool. Okay, so I'm going to go to simple query wizard. Okay, so they said from where? From games table and classification table. Okay, so we have, let's work with this game title. So you are not tampering with the queries. Don't go with the queries. It's just on the games and classification. So I'm going to move this. This is to move it one at a time. Age category. I can do the age category here. So that will be for classification. Okay. I can double click on it, whichever one. Global sales. Click. Okay, what else? Game publisher, console type, price, and sales in percentage, which is what we are going to, right? We're going to create. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the sales will make it 7. Next, detailed. What's the title? Title is going to be this, right? So Junior Thomas Games, copy. And then click on finish. Okay, so we can just check that everything is fine. Okay, I'm going to save, and I'll switch to my design view. Okay, so we have there. I can close this. Now let's start with it. Let's start with something we know, right? Game title includes the text. We've talked about the wildcards with the wildcard search, right? So for Thomas, this is going to be asterisk Thomas. They include the text Thomas asterisk Thomas asterisk, right? So for the game title, so we have asterisk Thomas asterisk. Okay, so we're going to click on it, run it. So if you look at this, it includes that text Thomas, very important. And then age code is C3 or C7. Now we have all, right? We want to display two things. So for the age code, do we have age code here? No. So we're going to bring it in. Okay, so we're going to show it. We're going to bring it in, but we don't show it. Make sense? So design view. So right here, okay, so we're going to bring you what? Age code. So we have age code here. So we're going to bring in the age code. Okay, so we have what? C3 or C7. So under our criteria, we're going to do C3 or C7. Okay, and we are going to run it. So it's going to bring this to what? 42 records. You can see C3 or C7, but we don't need to show this, because if we go to our question paper, right, in step 17, you see that there's no age code here. They say show only the fields. Okay, show only the fields. Very, very important. Show only the fields. Okay, so this is what we are showing. So we'll come here and uncheck this and then run it. So now it's not there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new field, sales. So let's do that. Now for us to create a new field, we're going to build it, right? So right here, I'm going to build it. So I'm going to click here on the field and go to my builder, right? And now let's look at this. They said what? Which is calculated at one time. When we talk about one time, it simply means that this is a formula that when it's created, when we are adding new records to it, is going to perform the calculation for us. Okay, so this field will display the percentage sales for each game in this selection. Let's take note. Now, the total number of games sold was 354. Good. Use global sales divided by 354. So let's do that. Global sales. So we have global sales. I'm going to bring it in. Right. Divided. So I have divided by 354, which is what? The total numbers of games that was sold, then multiply by 100. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to use my open parenthesis. Remember the word bidmass, right? It has to go with that. Bidmass has to take place. So multiply by what? 100. Okay, take note. We're multiplying this by what? 100. Okay. So I'm going to click on what? Okay. So we have this. Now you show the expression 1. I'm going to go to my builder. Okay. Now I'm going to copy the feed name, percent, right? And remove the expression 1. Control backspace and then paste this and then click on OK. So we have this. Okay. So now we're going to run it. So we have so many long whatever we're still not done, right? So I'm just going to go to design view. So what are they telling us in design view? They said format this field to display with 2 decimal place. Okay, so right here on this field, I'm going to go to property sheet. So under the decimal places is going to be what? 2 decimal places. Okay, 2 decimal places. and I'm going to what? Run. Still not done. So what do I do? Remember it's sales, right? We're putting our currency. So I'm going to scroll down to design view. Okay, so under this, I'm going to choose what? Currency. Okay, two decimal place currency, and I will run it. So now we have it. See this step by step? So now we have it. So here we are saying that the global sales, which is this, okay, then divided by the numbers of games sold times 100%. So this will now give us what? The sales for it. For each global sale, this is the sales in percentage that was made. So hope that is understood. Okay, very important, which is what is very, very clear. So it's important for you to understand this. Remember, they said to display with two decimal what? Places. But take note, they said that the same currency, okay, same currency should be applied to what? To both of them. So this is very, very important. Okay, so let's take note. So whatever currency you have, if you look at this, they said what? Make sure all currency value display the same currency symbol and are set to two decimal places. So let's go down. So this is where we are. All right, so hope that makes sense. So I'm going to click here and then double click and see. Now, if you don't put this in parentheses, it's not going to, because remember, you have to divide. And if looking at bedmans, we have bracket indices, division. Of course, division is first, but you really want to ensure that your calculation, as much as possible, is readable, right? In such a way that you specify, okay, do this operation first before you can do this operation. Very, very important. Okay, so 42 records. Yes, so I'm going to close. Of course, we have to save and then close. What else? So now we're done with this. It's time for us to create the report. So to create report wizard, and we're going to select that query that has the Genius Thomas games. We're going to move everything. So now we have this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So next, of course, remember, do not group the data. So this is going to be what? This is group, this is on group. What are we sorting by? So this is done. Sort the data into ascending order of console name, console type. Ascending order of console type and descending order of global sales. Okay, so what? Descending order of global sales. So we have what? The global sales. Okay, so we have this global sales. So we have, so the ascending order, just to check, console type and descending order of what? The global sales. So that's done. So what orientation are we giving it? Landscape. Okay, so let's make it landscape. Please report a tabular. If you look at the question, you see that what? Produce a tabular what? Report. So report a tabular and forms a columnar. So what's the title? We're just going to take this title here. Genius Thomas game, copy. Then move this and then paste. And then we can preview the report, finish. So this is going to be the print. And then we can see that these 2 pages. So let's fix it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to switch to what? The layout view. Okay, the layout view. So let's see how we can solve this. Remember, it has to be in this order. Okay, so it should be in this order. So now we can now see that this can now also act as what? Our report. Okay, very, very important. Okay, it's going to be what? In this order. So let's start with, so a lot of things have been changed. The console type which is console type and global sales. So we're just going to arrange game title. So let's work with console type is after price. So I have this, click on the field name, and then for the record, click the first one, select everything. We can adjust this, and then I'm just going to move it here, right? Just be careful when you're moving. Nope, undo. Let me undo it again. So you see, this is obviously for professional level, so you don't make mistakes, but it's always advisable. I have this here, so let me just do this, reduce it a bit, the price here as well, select this, hold my control, select the records, so it doesn't, I want to just take it step by step so it doesn't confuse anybody. Okay, I'm going to use my arrow key to move it, so you can see that it's being moved. So I have my game title, hold my control, this, I'm going to just quickly move it here. Okay, and then move it here for now. Okay, so the next one is what? Age category. I'm just going to move the sales here. Hold my control, and then I'll adjust it a bit. It's quite long, so let's leave it here. Then we have age category. I'm going to move it here. Okay, format, left align. Okay, what else? I have global sales, so global sales should be here. Going to move it here. Please be careful. Okay, adjust it a bit. Okay, game publisher. Move this a bit. Okay, what else? Console type. Let's see the sales. Just adjust this a bit. Then make the format to be this. Price. Now, if I did, notice when I do my left align, the first one goes to the left, and then the records will now go to the left, right? So we have this. So we can move this. Let's check it. Print preview. Let's check. Okay, it's cut off. Way is cut off. Way is cut off. It's cut off, right? So let's adjust it. Layout view. It's always important to check. So I'm just going to move this a bit. Okay. Still going to move this a bit. I'm still going to move it. So you have to be very patient and fast as well. Okay, patient and fast as well to get it done. It's like you're playing a game. Okay, so let's check it now. Let's see. Print preview. Okay, I think this is better. Yeah, definitely better. What about others? Let's check others. Complete. I don't know. I feel this is cut off. Let's check. Console type. You have to always check. Let me check. Good. I knew it. I knew something was off. Okay, so you always have to check, guys. You always have to check. Okay, very, very important. You don't want to make that mistake. Okay, you have to check. Okay, so layout. Okay, it's fine. All right. So here they said fit on a single page width. What this simply means that the heading must be on a single page, right? When we went to our preview, what happened? You can see that it was appearing under the page header, it was appearing on the same page, and that's what you want to do. Okay, very important. Okay, so we have this. Now the next thing is we have include only the title, Junior Thomas Games, display in a larger font size, fully visible at the top of the page. At the top of the page, so let's do that. I'll click here, go to format, bold, black, increase the font size to 24, right? And then what else? Calculate the average price. So we're done with this. Calculate the average price and place this below the price column at the end of the report. So let's calculate the average price. So the average price right here. So under my report layout design, under total, I'll go to average. So this will calculate our average price for us. Okay, so what else? They said average price and place this below the price column at the end of the report. Format this value as currency with 2 decimal places. Okay, so I have this here. So I'm going to click here, go to property sheet, and then under format is going to be what? 2 decimal what places. But the ball is already on 2 decimal places, but it's not saying it because under the format I have to what? Standardize it. So I'm going to standardize it. Done. Okay, so we have it as 2 decimal places. Okay, so this is done. Have the label average game price fully visible to the left of this value. So I'm going to highlight this, copy. So I'm going to switch to my design view. Okay, so under the report footer, I'm going to go to my report design, labels, and I will do this. Paste it. Right here, format, right align, black, bold. Right here, black, bold. I'm going to adjust it a bit. I can adjust this as well, little. I can adjust this a bit. Okay, so if I go to my layout view, so I can now actually do the work. Just bring this down and bring this close. If I hold my shift, okay, I think that's fine. Okay, so we have this, but now this is the average. Okay, this is the average, but it doesn't have any symbol. So this is the price. Let me see. So the average price, we format this value as currency with 2 decimal places. I knew something was missing. 2 decimal places. So here we have data sheet properties. Right here, the format will not be standard, rather the format will be what? Currency. Good. Better. That's what we want, right? Currency. So this is what we are talking about. It's always important to always check. And of course, they gave us a hint that the values should always be currency with 2 decimal places. Okay, so we have this. Has your name, comma space, center number, comma space, candidate number in the footer of the report, so it appears in the same position on every page. This is going to be what? The page footer. Okay, so I'm going to switch to design view. Under the page footer, I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Okay, then adjust this here. Then report design, my labels is where I can add in my text. So I'm going to draw this here. So Ajiro ND comma space EN 017 comma space 2024 as my candidate details. Format, center, I'm going to make it bold. I can increase it a bit to probably like 14. It's not a crime to do that. Okay, so I have this, right? So your name, so that in the footer, so it appears in the same position on every page. So this is done. Nearly missed this. Okay, it's always important to always check. And please, even when you're done, go back to all your questions, go through them again to ensure that you have them sorted. So we have this. So these are appearing on every page, and we have the average game price, which is what format the value as currency with 2 decimal place. So we have this right here. So the next thing that we need to do, you can tell me what's the next thing. Save and print your report. Yes, save and then print your report. Microsoft Print to PDF, and I'm going to print. Please, again, I know when we go to print, please ensure it's Microsoft Print to PDF and it's A4. Paper size is A4. Please, very important. So I'm going to print this. So this is going to be print out report 2. Okay, so now we can save and then close. Anything else that we need to do? Okay, so we are not done. Place in your evidence document a screenshot showing database formula used to calculate the average price. Make sure that the formula is fully visible. So let's go back to design view. For this, we want to see the proof of this. So I'm going to extend this a bit. Okay, and I'm just going to take my screenshot. It's fine, you can take the screenshot of literally everything here. Okay. This step is what? Let me look at the step. Step 17. Okay, step 17. Then we'll paste. Oh, I was getting scared. I was like, where's the other one? Okay, just here. So we can just make this maybe 10. Yes. So this, we can reduce it a bit. So I think this can fit in. I think this can fit in. Okay. I think this is still fair. Delete. So that's fine. So we have three of it. Okay, I think we have 3 of it. So that's fine. So I'm going to save it. So we've been able to do that. So what else have we not done? Okay, so that's the whole paper. So I'm going to save. I'm going to close. Okay, let me just switch to design to layout view and let's look at it. That's fine. So I'm going to save and then close, and then I can close my database. And then it's always important to always look at the work you've done. The report 1, and then I'm going to open the report 2. So please, for exam's sake, this is very, very important. Okay, so it's very, very important. Let's take note of that. Okay, so this is fine. Okay, and then report 2, we have our names appearing on every page. Okay, you can also leave this or you take it off, but I said it can have this, right? If you said only this, then you can take the 2 of them off. Okay, so we have this. So everything is showing, and from here you can go ahead and send it to the printer. Okay, so next, what are we doing? We're also printing our evidence document. Since we're done with this paper, we're printing our evidence document. So click on File, Print. Okay, so let's print our evidence document. Please remember it's Microsoft Print to PDF. So print this. Print. Okay, so this is the printout, the evidence. Okay, we can close this. Did it finish printing? Yes, it did. So this is your step 1, each of them. And now we are done with the paper. Okay, so thank you very much for tuning in. We're able to just do the database and then printing our evidence document, and I hope you learned a lot. Please do want to share this video with your classmates and with your friends, and then give a like to the video, share it with your with everyone you know that's doing ICT. Okay, and do want to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Okay, for more updates that will be coming in, because when you hit on notification, you get more updates, right? And thank you very much. See you in the next one. Bye bye.